This is a quarantine zone after the outbreak of a zombie virus. To suppress the zombie virus that could mutate in their bodies at any moment, the survivors had to inject the vaccine made by Company F. However, what no one knew was that this outbreak was caused by a new, evolved type of zombie virus that the current vaccine could not prevent. A man had just received his injection when his body began to react strangely. He collapsed onto the reporter Carter, vomiting blood, a sign that he was about to turn into a zombie. The doctor was about to examine the man when, in the next moment, he fully transformed and started attacking others. The infected patients in the beds also began showing signs of mutation. Carter quickly called for medical assistance, but the doctors were already struggling to save themselves. With zombies closing in, Carter used a hospital bed as a barricade. The entire vaccination room descended into chaos. Meanwhile, outside in the crowd, more infected individuals began to turn. Jordan, the camerawoman, was filming news footage when a fully transformed zombie lunged at her. She instinctively knocked it down with her camera. Witnessing this, people started to flee in panic. Unfortunately, a man in a wheelchair wasn't fast enough and was tackled by the pursuing zombies. As more virus carriers joined the growing horde, Jordan hurried to her car to escape. She anxiously searched for her colleague, Carter, but he was nowhere to be seen. Just then, a zombie lunged at her. Jordan struggled fiercely and managed to break free, eventually driving off in her car. At the same time, Carter had just escaped the vaccination room and saw Jordan driving away. Frustrated, he stood there cursing. Surrounded by an increasing number of zombies, Carter found himself at a loss, unsure of what to do next. Just then, an incredibly stunning woman appeared in Carter's line of sight. She effortlessly knocked a zombie to the ground with a single swing of her board. Carter quickly ran up to her, seeking protection, only to almost get his head blown off, mistaken for a zombie. Crystal threw the board to Carter and then leaped into action. Seeing the entire area overrun by zombies, Carter had no choice but to follow her. Unfortunately, he stumbled and fell, dropping his phone in the process. Just as he picked it up, a zombie descended from above, grabbing his leg and preparing to bite. Carter swiftly smashed the zombie's head with the board and ran towards Crystal. Meanwhile, Crystal had found a car, but the owner, devastated by the loss of his daughter, had a complete breakdown. At that moment, Carter caught up. With zombies closing in, Crystal had no choice but to forcibly drag Maggie along. Maggie, glancing at the approaching zombies, decided that survival was more important. As they got into the car, a zombie grabbed the back door. Carter, thinking quickly, used the car door to trap the zombie's arm. With Maggie's help, they successfully killed the zombie and sped away. Recalling everything he had just witnessed, Carter quickly realized that the vaccine made by F Corporation had failed. He immediately called his boss and relayed all the information. Upon hearing the news, his boss wasted no time in reporting it to the public. As Carter and the others discussed their next move, they failed to notice a zombie ahead, holding a road sign. By the time Maggie saw it, it was too late to avoid the collision. They crashed straight into it. Maggie tried to restart the car, only to find it completely wrecked. Seeing the situation, Crystal quickly got out and made a run for it, but the area was swarming with zombies. She picked up a brick and smashed a zombie, using the distraction to hide in a nearby store. Carter and Maggie, just getting out of the car, were immediately beset by zombies. Luckily, they managed to dodge the attacks. With Crystal's help, they both made it into the store safely. Fortunately, the store had a variety of usable tools. Crystal opened a cabinet and found a handgun. To escape, they started crafting weapons to fight the zombies. Meanwhile, Jordan had managed to drive out of the quarantine zone, followed by other survivors and a horde of zombies. The guards, seeing this, quickly shut the quarantine gates, ignoring the desperate pleas for help. Just as Jordan was about to film the scene, she received a call from Carter. Carter, upon learning that Jordan had escaped, immediately questioned her for abandoning him. Before Jordan could explain, the sound of intense gunfire erupted. The guards were clearing out zombies and preventing anyone from approaching the quarantine wall. After repeated warnings, they even shot one of the survivors to stop them from breaching the wall. To prevent the virus from leaking out, the entire quarantine zone was being sealed off. The few survivors outside were overwhelmed and devoured by the approaching zombies. While on the call, Crystal was taken to the isolation room for quarantine. She quickly relayed the situation to Carter. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Carter understood that they were trapped in the quarantine zone. He reported this to the TV station and asked his boss to find a way to get him out, but his boss insisted he continue live reporting from the scene. Carter could only laugh helplessly realizing he was just a pawn in the larger scheme. Meanwhile, Jordan was undergoing a PCR test. If she tested positive, she would be subjected to humane termination. As night fell, Carter was suddenly awakened by a noise. He followed the sound and discovered Crystal injecting herself with some kind of serum. There was a clear bite mark on her arm, indicating she was also infected. Just in case, Carter gripped the hammer tightly until he saw Crystal complete the injection without transforming. Only then did he feel safe enough to leave. Immediately, Carter informed Jordan about the incident. He suspected that the current outbreak wasn't due to a mutation in the virus, but rather a problem with the serum itself. The next day, Jordan did not show any signs of infection. The bald man from F Company released her from the quarantine room, and she took the opportunity to explain everything to him. However, he remained skeptical, demanding solid evidence. Meanwhile, Carter learned from Crystal that the serum she used was not the mass-produced kind, but a different type obtained through other channels. Unfortunately, Crystal only had one dose left. Before using it, she needed to find more of this specific serum. Just then, a news broadcast appeared on the TV. The military had issued a notice stating that the virus within the quarantine zone was out of control, and they planned to bomb the area within 48 hours. The trio's time was running out. To make matters worse, the notorious biker gang from the neighboring district had appeared outside. These ruthless individuals had been committing all kinds of atrocities in the post-apocalyptic world, and falling into their hands would be worse than being caught by zombies. Their leader, Logan, happened to walk into the same store. Knowing they couldn't handle trouble with him, the three quickly found a place to hide. Just as Logan was about to leave, he noticed some makeshift weapons they had crafted. Realizing someone was hiding in the store, he began to search the place. With no other option, Crystal decided to take the initiative. She pointed an empty gun at Logan's head, forcing him to comply and leave his gear behind. Logan, unaware that the gun wasn't loaded, obeyed and left the store. However, he didn't inform his men about the encounter. The sly smile on his face made it clear that he wasn't planning to let this slide so easily. As soon as they left the store, they encountered a survivor who sought their protection. However, Logan demanded $10,000 per person and brutally beat the man. The man's girlfriend, hiding nearby, was also discovered. During their escape, the woman was unfortunately surrounded by zombies. Logan and his gang, rather than helping her, left her behind. She was quickly overwhelmed and devoured by the zombies. Once Logan's gang had left, Crystal began modifying Logan's weapons, preparing to search for more serum. Carter suggested exposing the serum situation to the public, hoping that the military might cancel their planned action. However, Crystal didn't want to wait passively, so she grabbed the weapon and walked out, with Maggie following her with a large machete. Seeing that neither of them was cooperating with his plan, Carter went to the warehouse, found a doomsday weapon, and followed them. Crystal and Jordan finally found a working car, only to discover that they were surrounded by zombies. To give them a chance, Carter stepped up and drew the zombies' attention, heading straight into the horde and unleashing his harvesting mode. The two women took the opportunity to run past from behind, but Carter got entangled with the zombies, and his doomsday weapon was snatched away. Forced to use a baseball bat, he continued fighting, but the growing number of zombies overwhelmed him, pushing him under a bus. Seizing the moment, he climbed onto the bus, ran into a nearby alley, and shut an iron gate behind him, keeping the zombies at bay. Just as Carter sighed in relief, a clown zombie locked eyes on him. Nearby, a zombie cop approached menacingly. Carter grabbed an exhaust pipe, which unexpectedly served as an impromptu weapon. He quickly picked up a handgun but was pinned against the wall by the zombie. He managed to pull the trigger just in time, taking down the cop zombie, but the clown zombie swung an axe at him. Carter ducked, rolled away to create distance, and aimed the handgun at the clown's nose. Just when he thought he had the upper hand, he pulled the trigger and realized he was out of bullets. The clown zombie tackled him to the ground. With zombies about to break through the iron gate, Crystal arrived in the car just in time, rescuing him. They managed to escape before the horde closed in. Their urgent task was to find the serum, but despite searching many places, they discovered that all the serum supplies had been looted. Fortunately, Carter learned from Jordan that there was a serum warehouse nearby. The trio headed there, only to find the warehouse completely deserted. They decided to split up to search the area. Maggie was drawn to a blood-stained door by the sight of a stuffed animal. When she opened it, she found several zombies confined inside, evidently placed there on purpose. Among the horde, Maggie spotted a familiar figure. As she approached, she realized it was her daughter. Racked with guilt over her daughter, Maggie chose to join her and become a zombie as well. The remaining two searched thoroughly and finally found a batch of serum, but none of it was the type Crystal had been using. To prove that the serum was problematic, Carter suggested that Crystal help him film a video to stop the military from bombing the quarantine zone. This was their only chance to survive. After a moment of hesitation, Crystal agreed. As she was about to inject herself with the serum, her body began to show signs of mutation. The previous dose was wearing off. Seeing this, Carter stepped in to help her with the injection. After injecting the serum, Crystal's mutation stopped immediately, and the entire process was recorded on the phone. This video was undeniably the best evidence they could provide. Outside the warehouse, a massive horde of zombies suddenly appeared, forcing Carter to help Crystal as they hurriedly escaped. However, upon opening a door, they realized there was no way out, with a swarm of zombies below as well. They were completely trapped. Crystal took Carter's phone and uploaded the video they had just recorded to the internet, quickly sparking a heated discussion among netizens. Major news platforms picked up the story, and soon everyone was directing their outrage at F Company. As a result, the military took over the quarantine zone from F Company and restarted the evacuation plan for the survivors. At this point, the two in the warehouse had given up hope. Suddenly, the warehouse door burst open, revealing the biker gang. After clearing out the zombies outside, they had found the pair hiding behind the door. Carter started to speak, but was knocked out with the butt of a gun. When he came to, he found himself tied to a forklift, surrounded by zombies. One zombie lunged at him, and Carter struggled desperately. In the chaos, the zombie was knocked away and inadvertently ripped open a gas line. Another zombie, passing by a burning oil barrel, carried the flames to the leaking gas. Carter panicked, realizing the imminent danger. Just as he was about to give up hope, he noticed a knife sticking out of a zombie's back. An idea struck him. He managed to lure the zombie closer, then used his feet to pin it down, skillfully maneuvering to use the knife on its back to cut himself free. At this moment, a zombie with a flaming arm stumbled in, triggering a massive explosion. The blast took out a large number of zombies and sent shrapnel flying, injuring one of the biker gang members who was watching the chaos. Having escaped, Carter immediately called Jordan and learned that it was now possible to leave the quarantine zone. However, instead of leaving immediately, Carter hopped on a motorcycle and headed back to the warehouse to rescue Crystal. When Carter arrived, he saw the bikers about to assault Crystal. Logan rushed to block Carter, and the two men immediately began to brawl. Despite having a weapon, Carter was no match for Logan and was quickly overpowered. Meanwhile, Crystal was knocked to the ground by Shearson. But Shearson's victory was short-lived. Crystal managed to grab a weapon from behind her and swiftly took Shearson out with a single shot. She then hurried over to save Carter, and the two of them quickly jumped on the motorcycle and sped towards the quarantine wall. Just as Logan was starting to recover, he was bitten in the neck by the now zombified Maggie. Meanwhile, outside the quarantine zone, Jordan stumbled upon a shocking revelation. From the warehouse photos Carter had sent, Jordan realized that the batch of useless serum wasn't even manufactured by their company. Moreover, as the survivors were exiting the quarantine zone, the colonel began promoting a virus suppression chip developed in collaboration with another company. This was clearly a meticulously crafted conspiracy driven by profit. Crystal decided to expose the whole truth. She recorded a video and placed it in a cabinet at the quarantine zone entrance. However, just after completing this task, she was apprehended by several soldiers. At the same time, Carter arrived at the quarantine wall. To their shock, Logan, who was on the verge of turning into a zombie, had managed to follow them, bringing a horde of zombies along. Logan was wielding a shield in one hand and an axe with a timed explosive attached to it in the other. His intent was clear. He planned to breach the quarantine wall and unleash the zombie virus into the safe zone. The soldiers on the wall began clearing the zombies, giving Crystal a chance to find two chainsaws and engage Logan in a fight to the death. Carter, having crafted a makeshift weapon, joined the fray. Despite his efforts, he quickly realized he was no match for Logan. Logan, on the verge of turning into a zombie, was impervious to normal attacks. Logan overpowered both of them and hurled the axe with the bomb towards the quarantine wall, causing the soldiers on the wall to retreat. In a critical moment, Carter sprinted forward, executed a spinning leap, and hurled the axe back, striking Logan. Crystal quickly found cover as Logan was blown to smithereens. The two finally emerged from the safe zone. Carter immediately called Jordan upon exiting. In a cabinet, he heard Crystal's phone ringing, containing the last video she recorded. This video was bound to become a nationwide sensation. As two bombers flew overhead, the military continued their bombing mission, and the story abruptly ended.